the weapon in a me right hand. Warrior, 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 Shaka Fiema warrior, Christian warrior, with the weapon in a me right hand. Chaka, 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 chaka. Me say warrior, 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 chaka, chang, 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 chaka, 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 chang, 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 chang. With the weapon in a... Hey, share up the live, people. Morning, 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 everybody. Share up the live. We have Peter Bunting coming on at 5 minutes after 9. Daniel Archer at 9:30. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll open the phone line because the news cycle big and heavy. So, everybody, share up the live right now. Share up the live, my peeps. Get ready. I am a warrior, Christian warrior.
Later in the program, we're talking about the controversy in relation to the appointment of Chartered Accountant Dennis Chung as the head of the Financial Investigations Division. The opposition PNP has raised concerns about Mr. Chung's appointment because of concerns he has made, comments, I beg your pardon, public comments he has made in relation to the controversy surrounding Prime Minister Andrew Holness's statutory declarations and some of the matters that came out in the Integrity Commission report on those statutory declarations. Now, the Gleaner has published a story showing that one of the key requirements for the post of this is November 24, 2024, Director General of the Financial Investigation Division, when advertised at that time, qualifications are a postgraduate degree in management, public administration, criminal justice, law, or equivalent. Minimum 12 years experience in law enforcement or equivalent, minimum of 5 years at a senior level of law enforcement or the equivalent.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law do we meditate day and night. For we shall be like trees planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth our fruit in our season. Our leaves shall not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show. Share up the live. In 5 minutes, we're going to be joined by Peter Murcott Bunting, talking about Dennis Chung. Tala. Talking about Dennis Chung to head the FID, the Financial Investigative Division.
And the Gleaner is showing that the advertisement, which, as I said, they first published November 24 last year, that its subsequent re-advertisement removed the qualifications of 12 years experience in law enforcement. And just to remind listeners, the Financial Investigation Division, to which Mr. Chung has now been appointed, falls under the Ministry of Finance and Public Service, and it is to the Financial Investigation Division that the Integrity Commission referred the matter involving the Prime Minister's statutory declaration. So if it sounds like a whole lot, it is a whole lot, and we're going to be getting different perspectives on it. But let's bring in now the opposition spokesperson on national security, Senator Peter Bunting. Senator, appreciate you talking to us. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Diana, and good evening to your listeners.
So we had heard from the opposition that said they intended to take this matter to court. Is that still the position? We heard that from Mr. Golding yesterday.
No, that's not what he said. I was there beside him.
Okay.
As we're looking at all the options, including that, but we did not commit to taking it to court. However, when you, in your opening, you spoke to the fact that Dennis Chung had, by his public statements, already demonstrated his biases and prejudice around the Prime Minister's cases. He was critical of the Integrity Commission report, and, well, two very important cases that the FID will have to deal with. The referral for illicit enrichment, and also the SSL case, which you might recall Selvin Hay, before he left the post, had said more charges, more persons were to be charged, and those charges were imminent. About 18 months have gone by, and we've heard nothing of that. So that was one. But the second, and perhaps even more compelling one, is that he's absolutely unqualified for this job. The chief technical director is not like a chairman of a board or a director of a company. They're the ones who would supervise complex investigations, sometimes across jurisdictions. They must be people who are accustomed to leading sensitive, vetted units. Because those of us who have worked in law, in national security, would understand that you only share intelligence to the extent you trust the other party. So even when we, for example, might have a narcotics unit that shares intelligence with our international partners, you have to be sure that the person you appoint there has been vetted to a standard that these units will feel comfortable sharing intelligence with.
In the report tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, Director of Investigations Kevon Stevenson says the millions of dollars transferred between three companies linked to Mr. Holness raises several concerns. He has called on Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, to probe the company's accounts for potential irregularities. According to the report, Mr. Holness is connected with or had financial interests in three companies: Imperium, Positive Media, and Estate Bridge. Imperium is wholly owned by Mr. Holness and is a holding vehicle for his assets. A forensic examination of accounts attributed to Mr. Holness and the referenced companies for January 1, 2020 to June 13, 2023 revealed intercompany deposits and withdrawals in excess of $470 million and $427 million, respectively. According to Mr. Stevenson, the transfers are not supported by the apparent capital generated. But Mr. Chung questions the veracity of this claim.
And I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of that finding is, because transactions can move between accounts based on, liquidating one asset, getting a loan, setting it up somewhere else, and set it up somewhere else for use. So, for example, Positive Jamaica, I understand, is a foundation, and you might want to move money from a foundation to another account, which is an investment account, to do transactions. Particularly when I look at Table 6, which is the assets, liabilities, and income held by Mr. Holness, you don't really see any significant positive movement in it. You see that there's movement between US dollar assets and Jamaican dollar assets, but the total of it doesn't seem as if there's any significant increase in assets.
The chartered account.
Top of the morning, everybody. Sir Peter Bunting, good morning.
Good morning, Colin. How are you? Good morning to your listeners.
Well, I am not so good, I am confused and worried about my beautiful island home of Jamaica. We were just listening to a nationwide news clip, and we heard Dennis Chung. Sounds to me like the Prime Minister's lawyer.
Well, Dennis has been a consistent apologist and defender of Andrew Holness and the JLP. He's one of those hypocrites who portray themselves as a commentator, public commentator, political commentator, and being independent.
Mhm.
But if you look at the pattern of his interventions, they are all one-sided. They're all defending Andrew Hornis and the GLP.
Now, Senator, the FID, some people are of the opinion that it is a arm of the JCF. Is it?
No, it falls under the Ministry of Finance, but it is an important law enforcement agency
Mm-hmm.
in the architecture of law enforcement in Jamaica.
Right. So it has nothing to do with the JCF then.
The JCF is one of the agencies that cooperate with the FID. So all law enforcement and intelligence agencies in Jamaica, whether the JCF, military intelligence, customs enforcement, PICA, the immigration, MOCA, they would all coordinate on their intelligence gathering and on investigations, on complex investigations.
Let me put an hypothetical to you. Let's say Dennis Chung had the 12 years in the security forces as an investigator. Let's say he was a lawyer, so he had a law degree and his chartered accountant degree. And he had made the statements about the Prime Minister's filing with the Integrity Commission. Would those statements, with all the qualification necessary, would those statements still disqualify him from being the head of the FID at this time?
Absolutely. Those are prejudicial statements. Those are statements showing his bias. So to put him in charge of the agency to do those investigations, and let me just pause and say those are not ordinary investigations. It's probably the most important investigation that the FID could possibly have. And therefore, I mean, both the investigation into the offense of illicit enrichment by the Prime Minister and the investigation of SSL both have enormous international implications for our reputation, including, by the way, us remaining off the grey list or the blacklist of the Financial Action Task Force, which has huge implications for banking and financial transactions.
Tell me something, Senator Bunting. You have been a parliamentarian, you have been the Minister of National Security on this island. You have the experience. Could the Services Commission choose a commissioner of police without the Prime Minister approving of it, of that person?
That is highly unlikely. The truth of the matter is they're hiding behind the Services Commission right now. But the Services Commission would not have come up with the job description and the minimum qualifications for both academic and professional experience. These would have been developed by the ministry. And this big hypocrisy about, we followed process. You can design a process to give you a particular outcome.
Yes.
So if you follow a corrupt process, that is not an excuse for or not a justification for saying we follow the process. It is a corrupt process. We know the earlier ads for the posts had more appropriate qualifications. We also know, and listen out over the next couple of days, we also know that there were applicants who met those qualifications.
Because one of my questions, Senator Bunting, because I was going to ask if we know of any of the other persons who had applied.
I am certain that there were other applicants who met the qualification.
Tala. And Dennis Chung by your knowledge of Dennis Chung, have no experience in law enforcement in investigating financial crimes?
Absolutely none. And in fact, the JLP is peddling a lie that he has experience or he has qualifications in forensic accounting. Dennis has no qualifications in forensic accounting. And I challenge them to publish any certificate that he has to the contrary.
And as far as we know, no experience in ever investigating any financial crimes?
Absolutely. In fact, Dennis has been the subject of investigations by the Office of the Comptroller General, resulting in his having to resign from the board and the procurement committee of the JUTC.
Tell us
back
about
in
that.
2008.
Give us some details about that, because I heard you brought it up yesterday in another interview.
All right, let me find an article quickly as I'm talking to you. See if I can pull up something.
Well, I think I have
from the
something
time.
from the article.
2008, of course,
yeah,
is a long time ago. So you will understand that my memory of it is going to be not precise. But here's an article I just pulled up. December 6, 2008. Gleaner, lead stories. Resignations hit JUTC board. Procurement trio walk. Chung, Sangster, and Barrett. The expected fallout from the latest scandal at the JUTC, this is the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, started yesterday with the resignation of 3 board members and the acting president going on leave. Ray Barrett, Dennis Chung, and Bindley Sangster tendered their resignations to Transport Minister Mike Henry yesterday, hours after the JUTC board admitted that there were several breaches of the government's procurement guidelines at the state-owned bus company. The three men were members of the procurement committee of the JUTC and had been rapped on the knuckles by Contractor General Greg Christie for failing to take action to ensure that the bus company awarded contracts fairly. And I could go on and on, but I will send you the article.
We can seize there, because I just showed the article on the screen to some of my viewers as well. Now,
okay.
Senator Bunting, Dennis Chung is supposed to take up office Monday morning. If he takes up that position Monday morning, what are the options, or what is it that the People's National Party is going to be doing or thinking of doing?
Well, there are a number of options, or protest options. Mm-hmm. Certainly, street protests would be at the top of the agenda. And we're not talking about stopping people from going about their business or blocking roads.
Right.
That's
definitely
not what we're talking about. We're talking about peaceful protests where persons come out to demonstrate that enough is enough. And it's time to rescue Jamaica from this corrupt regime. The audacity, the dry eye approach of the Prime Minister to appoint somebody who will, who has already come out and stated their position on his investigation as the person to lead the agency investigating him is really an embarrassment, and is really an insult to the people of Jamaica. And I don't think they're going to allow this to just go so. So the PNP is going to provide leadership, but we are not alone. All well-thinking Jamaicans are appalled by this brazen, corrupt appointment made by the Andrew Holness government. It may be favor or the Services Commission that is the hand, But as you know in the Bible, it says the hand is the hand of Esau, but the voice is the voice of Jacob. And there undoubtedly Andrew Holness is who this appointment serves.
Why this appointment is so troubling, Senator Bunting? Explain to my listeners Because people might be listening, and people are listening from all over the world. We have over 500 people and more coming on constantly because we just start the show. But explain to my listeners why this appointment, because people might be wondering, so why, what man do? What wrong with the man? Why is this so troubling? Explain to my listeners and my viewers.
All right. So first of all, let me locate the FID, the Financial Intelligence Division, or Financial Investigation Division, rather. The FID is our designated member, is a country, Jamaica's designated member of something that's called the Egmont Group.
Mm-hmm.
The Egmont Group is the financial intelligence units of each country, the premier financial intelligence unit of each country.
Yes.
That shares information. They have MOUs and various agreements, both multilateral and bilateral, to share financial intelligence. This is designed, for example, to be able to create a net to capture persons like politicians or transnational organized criminals who move money and assets outside of a particular jurisdiction and across jurisdictions. So this facilitates collecting evidence, first by way of intelligence, and then using the treaties to convert that intelligence into evidence. And this is essential in prosecuting corrupt politicians, as I said, transnational organized criminals, corrupt public servants. Now, the sharing of intelligence is based on trust and confidence in the counterparty. If you put somebody who is manifestly unqualified to head Jamaica's FID, then what you're going to get is a reluctance to share sensitive information by our international partners, because they know he's not someone who is trained or competent in dealing with sensitive intelligence matters. So we're basically plugging Jamaica out of the intelligence loop. And no embassy is going to make that public statement, obviously. But I can tell you from my experience in national security, we were always careful. Any appointment that was being made to positions like the FID, the narcotics, the anti-narcotics units, and the JCF, etc., that those leaders must be able to enjoy the confidence of our international partners.
Mm-hmm. Now, with the Prime Minister to be investigated, and we have SSL under investigation, Dennis Chung, who have made his commitment, or his statement, saying that he see no problem with the Prime Minister. Give us your views on how you think the international authorities will be looking at Jamaica with this.
Well, they would say that this is a puppy show country. This is not a country that is serious about its international reputation. This is a country that is in the process of undermining the very democratic institutions that ensure that there is rule of law in this country. If you corrupt the investigative agencies, if you bring them under direct political control by appointing friends and cronies and apologists to head those agencies, then what you're effectively doing is neutering the agencies. We've seen, the attacks by multiple parliamentarians on the Integrity Commission. They don't come out with counter arguments to say, here is the evidence that what you're saying is not so, because they have no evidence to but the allegations. So they attack the individuals,
yes,
and they undermine the institutions. And we're seeing that process very active in Jamaica today. We have a regime in office who peddles their core competence is peddling misinformation, lies, and propaganda. And so their objective is just to keep this coming at a fire hose level, and just confusing the population.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a responsibility, and people like you have a responsibility to
Yes.
who has a listenership, to clarify for those people who may not understand, to be able to sift out the truth
Mm-hmm.
from the sea of lies and misinformation that the government is pumping out constantly, and ensure that we maintain some fidelity to truth, to good government, and to law and order in this country.
Gilly out of Toronto is asking, could the government appoint a candidate from outside of Jamaica?
Absolutely. Previously, Justin Felice, who was one of the international police officers, highly qualified officer out of Ireland, and he came to Jamaica and he served as head of the anti-corruption branch of the JCF, and then he was also appointed as head of the FID. But I wouldn't even have to go so far, Colin.
Right.
There are many qualified persons in the senior ranks of the JCF that could even be seconded to the FID. There are persons at MOCA who could be seconded. There's no shortage of qualified individuals locally.
And people
is a deliberate attempt by the government to neuter the agency. You'll recall just before Selvin Hayes' contract came to an end, he made a public announcement that there were a number of persons, additional persons, to be charged related to the FSL matter.
Yes, I remember.
You have heard nothing more from the FID on that since his departure, as if there is a gag order. And when you read what the U.S. International Narcotics Control Strategy Report says, that the FID is being starved of human and financial resources, where they have only 1/3 of their establishment.
You brought that news.
It becomes very, very plain to all who are interested that this government is about effectively neutering the agency, making it impotent and ineffective.
People are constantly joining Senator Bunting. We are over 600, going close to 700 viewers now. Just want to remind them that you also told us that you are confident that there were other applicants who were qualified for this job.
There were not only other applicants who were qualified, but there are many persons qualified in Jamaica within law enforcement and related agencies. Within the DPP's office, for example, you might find persons with lots of experience in prosecuting cases to do with money laundering and financial crimes, for example. So there is no shortage. As I said, if I put an ad for a post in a private sector company and nobody responds who meets the qualifications, the answer is not to lower the qualifications. The answer is you recruit a headhunter to go out and find the suitable candidates, so that you don't just rely on putting an ad. That is just performative. They knew who they wanted and they tailored the ad to fit the individual they wanted. In fact, when you read the last ad in January, it could be for any generic position, administrative or management position in the entire public sector. It was not at all specific to the premier financial crime investigating entity in Jamaica. And Colin, you know, after all, I explain I have a funeral this morning.
So I have the final question for you. What would the PNP do? Because we know election is around the corner. The PNP forms the government. Dennis Chung is in the chair. What happens?
Well, that would be an unacceptable situation to the PNP. To a government formed by the PNP, that would be an unacceptable situation. And I really want to appeal to Dennis. because he's a personable fellow.
Yes.
Whatever reputation you have left, Dennis, don't allow someone whose reputation has already been destroyed to manipulate you, to pressure you to sacrifice your whatever reputation you have left in the interest of keeping them out of short pants.
They said that they're putting Dennis there to sanitize the Prime Minister.
Well, I leave it at that without comment. I have to run.
Thank you, Senator Bunting. Thank you for the time. All the best. Have a blessed day, my brother.
You're welcome.
Senator Peter Bunting, former Minister of National Security and the Shadow Minister of National Security, giving us his take, his perspective on the appointment of Dennis Chung as the head of the FID. What a corrupt country we are in. I said it maybe 3-4 years ago that this government, this Andrew Holness-led government, is the most corrupt administration Jamaica has ever seen. And I went further. I said if you put all the PNP perception of corruption and all the past GLP perception of corruption together, excluding this Andrew Holness administration. So you put all administrations corruption together. This present Andrew Holness administration beat all of them. It is the most corrupt and barefaced now, because now they are leading down a dictatorship path. Jamaicans, rise out on a slumber. All who never used to vote, the coming election, your vote is going to be critical. We have a very interesting interview coming up. We are going to be talking to Danielle Archer. She's the head of the NIA, National Integrity Action. And some of the things we want to find out from her, we want you to understand the Integrity Commission, what it is, how it works, its role and its function, and what weight its decision have. Listen a little bit more to this nationwide clip with Dennis Chung.
Set it up somewhere else for you. So, for example, Positive Jamaica, I understand, is a son,
Capital generated. But Mr. Chung questions the veracity of this claim.
And I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of that finding is, because transactions can move between accounts based on, liquidating one asset, getting a loan, setting it up somewhere else, and set it up somewhere else for you. So, for example, Positive Jamaica, I understand, is a foundation, and you might want to move money from a foundation to another account, which is an investment account, to do transactions. Particularly when I look at Table 6, which is the assets, liabilities, and income held by Mr. Holness, you don't really see any significant positive movement in it. You see that there's movement between US dollar assets and Jamaican dollar assets, but the total of it, it doesn't seem as if there's any significant increase in assets.
The chartered accountant also calls into question claims by the commission that a company named Green Emerald does not generate sufficient income to support loans valuing $20 million to Positive Media between 2021 and 2022.
I've looked through the report and I see, for example, that they're questioning loans from a company that does not have the income to lend the money. You don't have to lend money like that. You can lend money by basically being a guarantor, taking it in one name and sending it to another company. So there are some things there that I'm still trying to understand the conclusion from it, because I think there are still some things missing.
In addition, Mr. Chung says the Director of Investigation's claim of potential tax evasion on the basis of certain entities filing nil tax returns is dubious.
People filing nil returns, if you don't generate any profits, because remember, income is not profits, then you could file a nil return. And a lot of people also in the country, is not just be touching this one, get dividends, for example, which is taxed at source, and don't know that they're supposed to file that also. I don't find that there's anything suspicious with it. The assumption also is that the tax people are not doing their work if the filings were made, because when you file, you actually do file financial statements with it. So it's not that you're just going to file the returns alone. As I said, if there's no profit, then of course it's going to be nil. because you don't get charged tax on total income.
That clip was coming to you from Nationwide, and we want to thank them for the clip. We have counsel and the head of the NIA, National Integrity Action, Daniel Archer on the line. Daniel, good morning.
Blessings. Morning to you. Morning to your listeners. Happy Saturday.
Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Daniel, we want to talk to you about the Integrity Commission because a lot of people hear about the Integrity Commission and they don't understand the roles and functions of the Integrity Commission, how it was set up, why it was set up, and what weight does it really carry. So tell us what really is the Integrity Commission and what is it there for?
All right. So the Integrity Commission is set up as all right, let's start with how we manage public officials.
Yes.
So when we think about public officials, one of the things you want to appreciate is that all public officials would have some kind of responsibility to ensure that their income matches their expenditure. So one of the things public officials had to do in the past was to file statutory declarations rather. And the statutory declarations are filed to ensure that persons who have access to public funding or have access to opportunities to exploit public funding or the public in terms of being able to collect or spend money, public funds, are doing so in a manner that is fair. And so when the statutory declarations are filed, they were to be reviewed and the income is assessed against what your expenditure is. They look at your bank account, they look at your cars, they look at what you own, what you're spending to ensure that it equals your income or you have a good explanation for how you get it. That ensures that public funds are not used for the benefit of private gain. So that's one of the things that the Integrity Commission does. It's set up to ensure that statutory declarations that are filed by public officials are properly reviewed and investigated to ensure that we create as best as possible a corrupt-free society by preventing, detecting, investigating, and prosecuting acts of corruption. That's really what the Integrity Commission is aiming to do. They are the highest body that we have that is responsible for ensuring this high level of anti-corruption activity in the public space. And having been created by a statute of Parliament, so Parliament came together, both the opposition and the government, and it was passed in 2017 under the current government as being the kind of legislation to establish a very independent body that will be present to oversee parliamentarians and public officials. That makes sense so far?
No, yes, definitely. So,
all right. So that is what their mission is. So their mission is to ensure that we, as far as possible, balance the thing. Ensure that those who have access to resources, and I think you remember recently they increased the level of the persons who have to file statutory declarations. So it's not everybody. It's not all the people down there. People who earn over 12 million, you are expected to file this because they want to make sure that you're not utilizing their office for private gain.
No, Daniel, when a parliamentarian submits their filing to the Integrity Commission, what is expected of the Integrity Commission from there?
So they're going to investigate it. They're going to do your checks. So what they do is they look at the statutory declarations, and under this, so let me tell you a little bit more what the declarations include. So the declarations include whatever assets they have, the value of the home, the value of the car, the value of the investment. And it indicates what they'll have, however they get it. So you have to tell them if you've gotten a GLE and you didn't spend it, you didn't buy it, and somebody gave it to you, you have to explain how you get it.
So if you get gifts as a politician, you also have to declare that on your submission.
Correct. So gifts are to be declared, and the reason I think there's a challenge with the gift because there is something that indicates to sign it. I think in the last report, the investigation had the investigators had mentioned that there's a loophole in terms of gifts in our legislation. In other words, I'll come back to you on that. I don't remember it right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you are to disclose giving and receive the gift that you've gotten. And the reason for that is they want to make sure that you're not utilizing your office for private gain. So they're going to investigate. They're going to follow the cookie crumbs. If you say, is your auntie give you the GLE,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to find out from your auntie where she gets the money from to buy the GLE. Because it could be that somebody who wants the politician to do something,
Right.
give the auntie the gift, and the auntie give you the gift.
Yes.
So they want to make sure that parliamentarians are not being unreasonably influenced by outside sources to do things for their own benefit. They want to make sure that those who have access to resources are not exploiting their power. So they're going to follow the things that you put on the declaration, and they're going to check them to verify that it is so. So the last prominent case we had was that of the member of parliament, the former House Speaker, who had a GLE.
Right.
She bought a GLE.
And she never declared the GLE.
But it's not so much declaring the GLE. You know. She bought a GLE and she got traveling for the GLE.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But the GLE was, in fact, not being used by her for the office that she got it for. And it was being used by a family member.
And that was illegal, right?
And she didn't remember anything about it. So they were asking about it and said, oh, yes, I have it. I have it. And she explained that she bought it. She got the concession for it. And the investigation unfolded. The recommendation being that you would have gotten the use of it or the benefit of this vehicle, but you weren't using it for the job that you said you were using it for, but you were receiving travel for the said vehicle. So there was a little bit of uncertainty as it related to that vehicle.
Right.
And that's what they tried. They try to match what you say with what you have in reality. And they will follow the investigations to see where they lead.
Daniel, are you aware of any politician that the Integrity Commission has charged and that politician go to court and got and where you just say the Integrity Commission lost the case?
I have to give that some thought.
But
I could research it.
None come to mind
at this time. It's not usually when the IC takes them. It's usually in breach of the statutory or failing to file their statutory declarations on time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a strict, what you call a strict liability thing. In other words, if you never file it, you never file it.
Right.
And so they would have had to pay a fine for filing it, and oftentimes they would have regularized their position by filing it. And in terms of the prosecution under the Integrity Commission legislation,
yeah,
I am unaware of the environment in which we are. Perhaps is the most active environment we've had in terms of such investigations. We have had investigations that have highlighted the nepotism and cronyism.
Yeah.
And there was adequate evidence that would really recognize that such actions had occurred.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately,
those are not
Jamaica
illegal.
does not have any legislation that makes cronyism, nepotism a crime.
Right.
And that is why the National Integrity Action is asking the public to consider asking their members of parliament, promoting a requirement to have this big bill, to use Trump's words, a big, beautiful bill on anti-corruption.
Yes.
And such a bill would include making bribery a crime, because currently bribery is not a crime in Jamaica. And making nepotism.
No, hold on. You did just say bribery is not a crime?
Yes, I did say that.
Bribery?
Yes, I did say that.
So if
up button, everybody mouth drop open.
Yeah, I am a little bit shocked. So if a man offer
bribery is
police,
a crime.
if you offer police money, isn't that bribery?
No, that's a different thing. So when you offer a policeman money, you're talking about perversion of his duty.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about bribery, you would agree with me that I can bribe you to do certain things.
Yeah.
Yes? Bribery is not something that only politicians do. Bribery is something that occurs in our everyday activity, both in the private and public sphere. And bribery is not a crime.
So if I offer a politician money to give me a contract, that's not a crime?
No, that is when you talk about politicians, now you're talking about public servants.
Okay.
And so
okay.
under the integrity commission, the legislation, you can find something that could reasonably cover that scenario.
Yes.
The challenge you have with that is that you have a threshold there that speaks about how you get there, how you can be successful in that. And you and I will agree that politicians are not the only persons who can be bribed.
Right.
So let's be fair and appreciate that bribery occurs not just, and the focus should never be just on our politicians. We need to look at our own lifestyle and our own activity and recognize that bribery in and of itself in any form with any party is wrong. And so we should have it as a criminal act.
We should, yes. No,
because
Daniel.
When we set the foundation for ourselves, we stand in a better position to tell a prime minister, to tell a member of parliament, to tell a senator that you are doing something that is really not accepted by our society.
No, help me out with this, Daniel. The Integrity Commission does its investigation. And we heard the former chairman, when they went to the parliament, said that the findings of the Integrity Commission are not mere allegations, but they are facts. Explain that to me.
What the investigations would have done for the Integrity Commission is that they don't give. So you make a complaint. A complaint constitutes what you call an allegation.
Yes.
An allegation is an assertion that has not yet been proven.
Yes.
When you make this assertion, this allegation, you want it to be investigated and you want evidence.
Yes.
To support that which is being said. It is the evidence that comes forth from investigations that prove this assertion or the allegation, which is why the chairman would reasonably say that it is a fact. So what they say is based on what they see. They have proven it. They've done the investigations to confirm the existence of the information that gave rise to the allegation. And they have subsequently done investigations to confirm that this is so. And so they're now saying that because it does exist, it is a fact.
So what weight does that carry now? Because there are some people who are saying that the Integrity Commission had no real finding on the Prime Minister and therefore they should have certified him.
All right, you carry me, you go around the merry bush and you draw me in on the topic here. Let us be clear.
No.
The Integrity Commission made their own findings.
Yes.
They also indicated that in the absence of certain information, they were unable to come to a particular conclusion that would allow them to be able to certify. And because they weren't able to get the information that they had requested to come to their conclusion, they indicated that they...
You said they were unable to get the information that they requested, right?
Excuse me, sir?
You said they were what? Able or unable to get the information?
They weren't able.
They
whether
weren't.
By voluntary information or otherwise.
Right.
They weren't able to get this information. And so because this information remained outstanding, they were unable to confirm what was being said. And they recommended that further investigation be done by a specialist entity.
I don't know if you can help me with this, because the fact that the Integrity Commission tabled a report in the Parliament, there are some people who are saying that once they tabled a report, they should have come to a conclusion or not tabled a report. How does that work?
Why would you do that? You're going to then say or they're taking very long,
Yes.
and then they'd perhaps never be able to table it because they genuinely don't have the information.
Right.
What they did was they tabled the report to provide you with an idea
Of
of
where they
what
are.
information they have and indicate what they didn't have. Let us be honest. They have a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The Integrity Commission has what is called a gag clause, which means that they can't speak about anything until it's tabled.
Right.
So we would never know as a public whether or not they're investigating you until they table the information. As a public, I would never know. You would know because you would have gotten letters. You'd have met with them. You'd understand that they're asking certain questions.
Yes.
But until they table the report, I wouldn't know that they're investigating you because they're not allowed to even mention that they're doing so. So the act of tabling the report operates in two ways.
Talk to
It
me.
operates so that we understand what it is that they're doing, and it operates so that we know what they know. Because if they don't table it, we would never know what they're doing. And if they don't table it, we'll never know what they know.
So, from a personal standpoint, the fact that they table a report, and I'll say this, I was one of the persons who was saying to who were calling for the Integrity Commission to table a report. Let's know what is
Right.
happening because
Right.
the statutory filing of the Prime Minister was not certified for how many years. Are you saying then that there's no problem legally with what the Integrity Commission did in tabling that report?
No, that's what they're required to do. The law requires that after they do their work, they can't come to the public, which is why you would have heard NRA and others saying, get rid of the gag clause,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know what they're doing. And there are questions that are being asked in the public domain, and how they're not going to answer. Them can't do a press conference. They can't send out a press release. You can't submit anything to them under the Access to Information Act. There's no way for them to communicate and tell you, yes, I'm investigating Mary Jane, and we're investigating Mary Jane because you were told certain things. And based on what we were told, we are trying to verify this information. They're not able to tell anybody that.
Respond to people who are saying that if you remove the gag clause, you are going to destroy people's reputation. And explain to my listeners why you believe that the gag clause should be removed.
All right. So let's start with simple things. When anybody from your community is a suspect in any investigation, whether they have done it or not, whether them really raped the man or the woman or the whatever the allegation is.
Yes.
So let me rephrase that, because some people might say what I said was incorrect. Whether you are accused of robbery or they suspect that you did rob Mr. Chin shop, or they suspect that you were involved in some kind of gang activity, or they suspect that as an employee, I may have been involved in some kind of fraudulent activity at the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
The investigating persons are at liberty to put out your name.
Yes.
And to say that you are invited to come in for a meeting. The investigating persons are entitled to put out something that says they're wanted for suspicion of so and so. Now, when these people come and they say, but me never did that the country, me never did that Portland, sir. We did that Kingston, I work. And see the lady when we did that work for a year, I never meet her. Do they come back out and tell you, say, he wasn't the person who was a suspect, that they were wrong?
But some people would say that person is not as high profile and have that kind of...
Top. The person is of no less importance than the person who is of a high profile. Nobody's a god around here.
Talk to me. You sure about that?
When all of us are on the same level. In fact, those persons who have greater authority has a greater responsibility.
Oh, yes.
And
that
they
I
should know that if it is founded, that they are at liberty to come out and say, it wasn't me, here are the facts. I was being investigated. It did not happen. And we all appreciate that when you become a public servant, you have a higher duty and responsibility. It comes with the territory. So you shouldn't feel that your reputation is more important than the person at the bottom of the society.
Talk to me.
So that's one of the things that I personally have a challenge with, because we all should be treated the same way. Nobody's reputation is more. In fact, I want to tell you that a gentleman whose name was broadcasted in the community who did not do the robbery or wasn't part of the gang now has what is called an adverse trace. We don't talk about that. But he's labeled under the police records as having an adverse trace. When he gets a police report, it's not noted on the police report, but the police has a bank. And they do note that you came in under these circumstances.
And he doesn't have
There
that
is a way
connection to clear his
apply
name.
to the embassy for a visa, and they get a police report, and the police report says that you're good and clean and has never been charged. The embassy is entitled to do another request from the police, and the police can provide a report that indicates that you have an adverse trace.
Oh.
Adverse trace means that they are aware that you may associate with persons of questionable character. You may be suspected of being in a crime, but they can't prove it. And you have an adverse trace. And that adverse trace don't wash off. That adverse trace don't change. That adverse trace don't grow out. If you were 13 with the adverse trace, when you're 66, you have the adverse trace. So don't tell me that politicians' reputations are more important than the people who pay them. Don't tell me that adverse trace that affects every person who has ever been investigated or suspected of being in any wrongdoing, that they are less important than a politician. Don't question the responsibility that every politician has to the persons who pay them, because as Jamaicans, you are the employer.
A lot of people don't know that, Daniel.
And
a lot of
every
people don't recognize that.
has a right to ask for a police report. And every employer has a right to ask, oh, so they just pick you up, but they never really charge you. So you're good then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the onus is on us to ensure that if you are being so investigated, you provide the information and you let us know. We can decide whether a full thing are going or a stupid business that's making go on, nothing like that.
And
we're capable of making that decision.
And as a politician, you have adequate resources that you can get it out to the public that I have been cleared.
That is it as well. That you also have that advantage. You like a man from Remo or down at Dunkirk where them creep up.
Or up a Millbank.
14 days and no him not get no charge, him lose him job, him come out and everybody say, yeah man, a whole criminal that.
And
he's never been charged.
And him don't have the ability.
He has no money to go and do a PR campaign to show people that I never did this. Him can barely buy food.
That's it. Now, if you're just joining us, listeners and viewers, we're talking to Danielle Archer, attorney at law, and she's the head of the NIA, National Integrity Action. We're talking about the Integrity Commission because a lot of people hear about the Integrity Commission and don't have the full understanding. The Integrity Commission is tasked with certifying our politicians, and not just our politicians, but we want to look at our politicians this morning when they submit their statutory filing. They are also charged that when they certify the filing of the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition, a summary be made public. What is normally in that summary, Daniel?
The summaries usually that is made public is what their earnings are. So you're able to see what they've earned, what their value is, how their asset has grown, and that is I want to say it's a comfort to the society for us to understand whether that their income have exceeded or it's grown exponentially. It gives us confidence that they're utilizing their authority in a reasonable way. Just for clarity, I did mention before the investigations for the former House Speaker, and I just wanted to confirm that it was that she was charged for failing to declare a government concession vehicle.
Right.
So that was what she was charged for. And that was because she had gotten the vehicle, obtained the traveling, but had not included that information
In her
on
filing.
her declaration.
And she was charged
And
what?
so
900?
because she would have been declaring that at this, I haven't seen the documents, but clearly the fact that she'd have gotten the travel emolument, they would ask, but what are you getting this travel emolument for? They would then look to see, oh, it's connected to this motor vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But when they look at the statutory declaration, they're not seeing where she has declared that she owns this motor vehicle. So they would have had to say, but why didn't you declare owning this motor vehicle when you were getting travel for it? And then now you get, oh, yes, I do own it. I bought it, so on, so on, so on, so on. And that's what statutory declarations allow us to do. It allows us to trace and connect the dots to see if you're getting this and you have why, where is it coming from?
But Daniel, we're wrapping up, but tell me this. What sense does it make if the Integrity Commission is supposed to certify our politicians, but whether or not they are certified, they are allowed to run in an election? What sense does that make?
All right. When we talk about this kind of discussion, what we must be focusing on is the connection between our legislation and the kind of society that we want.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you hear a lot of persons talking about changing the governance system so that people have a greater say in such events.
Yes.
People can start asking more questions and people can even suggest the kind of laws that they want.
Mm-hmm.
As we speak, there are no consequences that affect any politician from running, being part of governance, having failed to file their statutory declaration. There is really no consequence. And one of the things you must appreciate as a listener is our parliamentarians make the law and they're always going to make sure that they have the benefit of that legislation. So they're not going to put into that legislation consequences that are going to affect them as politicians. It is the people who will have to ask for such consequences. So the legislation as it stands does not disqualify anyone from running for failing to have your declaration certified. This is a matter for the political party that the parliamentarian may belong to. It is an issue that would be the responsibility of any person who feels that it is important. And at the relevant time, as we talk about constitutional reform,
mm-hmm.
we can always ask the question, do we need to have greater or more factors that describe who or what can be eligible to run in an election and put that in a constitution?
So what then is the weight of the Integrity Commission, certified or not certified? What weight does that carry then?
The weight it carries is whether, as a people, we determine, is it reasonable for the parliamentarian to have not got his declaration certified? If we understand the purpose of the declaration, which is to be able to confirm that there are no questions surrounding how you've earned your income, whether or not there are illicit engagements or illicit enrichment. If we accept that the inability to certify raises a substantial question that you are unable to provide information to satisfy investigators that you have earned this sum legitimately, that's a matter for the public to decide if that's important. There has been this discussion about what we call unexplained wealth orders. This is how you treat with scammers.
Mm-hmm.
Unexplained wealth orders is a tool that one could use rather than just looking at somebody and assuming that they are not earning their income in an honest manner. That unexplained wealth orders would be decreed by perhaps after making an application to a court, send it to you and have you explain to a court where you get this money from.
Yes.
And then if you don't believe the Integrity Commission should have that authority, you create a clause in the legislation that allows them to apply to a court of law which you respect to issue this unexplained wealth order. And they would then come to court and say, this is how I've gotten my income. It could apply to parliamentarians. it can apply to regular citizens who you are of the view have questionable income. So it's a matter for individuals and for citizens to decide whether or not they are satisfied that leaders should be required to say how they have earned their income and to explain their substantial wealth in circumstances where they are given access to extraordinary authority to make decisions and to have access to public resources. Because at the end of the day, we are the employers. We want to ensure that when persons are making arrangements for contracts, persons are making arrangements for the delivery of resources to communities, that given our scarce resources, that persons aren't using their offices for their own private gain.
Do you think the people of Jamaica pay enough attention to the Integrity Commission, Daniel?
We pay as much attention to the Integrity Commission as we choose to. When a pot is boiling, many of us will not pay attention to it.
It's when the food cook.
Hot on and we just watch the pot. When it boil over now, or when the members say, pot the pan stove, that's wrong.
Yes.
All right. That's how we respond to the Integrity Commission.
Finally,
we don't pay attention to it until something happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as a people, we need to become a little bit more conscious that as employers of parliamentarians, as employers of every government official, as employers of every public servant, that's why they're called public servants, that we are the holders of this opportunity for them and become more responsible in how we know they perform and become more responsible in what we expect of them. So it's not just the Integrity Commission. I think generally as citizens, we don't pay much attention to government because we feel that government is over this and I'm just here, and we don't accept that government involves all of us. Mm-hmm. And those who are actually selected to lead or those who are actually working in government entities represent me and are paid by me and report to me, so they have a duty to me. We don't have that. And once we grasp that understanding that we are the employers,
yes, we are the boss.
Every government official reports to me, then we would have a greater interest in our own business. When you know that you're a business,
yes,
and you realize that you are the CEO of your business,
and
that you, based on what you want to do, based on what you want to gain, that how it will go is your ideas that people live off. So if you don't have a problem with it, it's good, because you are running your business.
Right.
But there are some of us who may disagree and say, no, man, I want my business run straight and proper. I want to make sure so I can earn more and there's greater profitability. I'm going to spend the money right and that wastage is stopped.
Yes.
Then I will now have to take a responsibility to manage my business to make sure that it is operating the best way possible.
And you have a responsibility to turn up at the AGM.
Excuse me?
You have a responsibility to turn up at the annual general meeting of your company.
Precisely. And ask questions. You have a responsibility to say, I am not supporting this thing. I have a responsibility to say that, hold on, you forget to say, I mean, hire you. You can't treat me so.
Yeah.
The same way people treat lawyers and complain that lawyers are them hire the lawyer, and none of them work. Mm-hmm. And the same way you're supposed to respond to the government and to all public officials. So the question is not just how we respond to the Integrity Commission, it's how we respond to every arm of government.
You just spoke to us about unexplained wealth, but the Integrity Commission also investigates people for illicit enrichment. Finally, explain that to us, and there's also an attempt to remove that from the books.
Illicit enrichment is really just that. You have gotten it illicitly. There are no legal ways for you to get it. And unexplained wealth is really that. You don't have any honest way of earning what you say. And so you've done it in a corrupt way. You've done it wrong. You've not done it through the right channel. You may get illicit enrichment by being paid bribes or grafts. Mm-hmm. You may get illicit enrichment by making sure that you get kickbacks from giving out a contract. And so illicit enrichment means that you really are using public office because you have awesome power. You know who when get a contract. You know what the contract is worth. You know what the people are prepared to pay for the contract. You know that there is an idea that road when built on the side of the island, so you walk on all of them house there. If you can buy them house there, when the road are built, you can make some money coming and sell back the house them to them and you can make a money.
Yes.
Or, you know, say road are go build, you can put one gas station right there. So I know the gas station people are willing to give people contract around it. So you walk on. When the house are built, when the road are built, they could buy a piece of the land and can get you cheap, and then people that know the development are come.
Right.
And when they buy the land now, we can just wait easy till the road build. And when the road build now, we just go on my friend and we just get one contract, one gas station. You see what I say?
Yes.
All of this happens because you have advanced knowledge. And you're able to use that advanced knowledge to your benefit. When you look at your salary and the job that you have or what you're doing, how do you explain being able to buy that piece of property? Where you got that money from? How did you know that you were going to be able to make such money in such a short time? Those are some of the issues that are considered when we talk about illicit wealth. Illicit wealth can also come from people doing you favors, which is why we talk now about supporting anti-bribery legislation that covers cronyism, nepotism, which means you put your friends in business, you put your family in business, you take kickbacks and bribes, you have advanced knowledge that allows you to get an advantage of a particular situation. As a people, we need to start thinking about the kind of laws that we want to have that makes everything more equal or equitable and ask for it. So there are conversations about removing it. There are conversations now about not having unexplained wealth orders now. As a people, we need to ask why we can't have it. How helpful would it be? And guess what? Draw on people who you have confidence in to explain these things to you and who are trained to understand it, and see if they have any interest to serve. If you don't value what I say, go and check it out and see what other people internationally have to say about unexplained wealth orders to justify whether or not you're to independently support it. Just before I go, I had mentioned the position with gifts, and I wanted to clarify that.
Yes.
If you look at the 2023-2024 annual report, the Integrity Commission highlighted that the current legislation allows relatives of parliamentarians and public officials to offer gifts without any reporting requirements. I repeat. The 2023-2024 annual report of the Integrity Commission highlighted that current legislation allows relatives of parliamentarians and public officials to offer gifts without any reporting requirements.
But that must change, Daniel.
The concern with that is that this could be exploited to disguise illicit benefit.
But that must change. I want to ask you one final question. Do you think that we need to bring legislation in place that our active politicians should not be doing business while in office? That's my view. I'm asking you what you think about that.
I don't know if I want to take it that far, because one of the things that you want to do, and it's one of the people would say one of the security of the institutions. If persons have their businesses
before,
you would want to create an atmosphere that doesn't preclude them from being business persons, because that's their livelihood. And if persons are secure in their livelihood, it's more than likely that if they are monitored by an integrity compass, that they would not be willing to engage in certain activities. I say that as a large explanation. On a simpler explanation, one could put in safeguards that would ensure that even if they have a business, that business is not something that touches and concerns their portfolio, something that touches and concerns that they can't do certain things with that business for a particular period of time, or they can't establish a particular business in a particular area for a particular period of time. I don't think it's fair to say they can't have a business. What you perhaps want to do is explore what could be put in place to secure or ensure that that business does not receive the benefit of them being in politics. And that legislation, to my mind, would be something like an anti-bribery legislation that would ensure that there's no nepotism, there's no cronyism, there's no bribery. And then we could define in that legislation safeguards that would make sure that that politician's business does not get the benefit of them being in politics, or that they don't start a business that allows them to benefit from the position that they have in politics. And that is why National Integrity Action is promoting and asking citizens to consider supporting such a legislation that would create a foundation to ensure that our leaders, our public officials, and those in the private sector do not abuse the opportunities that they have, and that the public is always protected from any act of bribery, nepotism, or cronyism.
Daniel Archer, I want to thank you for joining us this morning, to really bringing us up to speed, giving us the kind of information that I think people need to have, and the understanding about an integrity commission operating in Jamaica. Daniel, I want to thank you.
Blessings. Thanks for having me. Morning to your listeners.
Blessings.
Keep safe.
Listeners and viewers, Daniel Archer, National Integrity Action. We're ready for you. 804-7072. I've been scanning the chat room, but I've been focused on the interview, getting the information. Because a lot of people don't understand the rules and functions of the Integrity Commission. And we come here most mornings and we talk about the Prime Minister not being certified. And Daniel said the fact that the Prime Minister is not certified. It is up to the people of Jamaica now to use that information to determine if you want to continue with a Prime Minister who has not gotten a clean bill of health from the Integrity Commission. Top of the morning, welcome to Portland Spice TV. 876-804-7072. Morning, sir.
Yeah, morning, man. How you doing?
I'm good enough. Talk to me.
Yeah, bless you. I think this is a very, very good interview.
Thank you.
Because the information really needed to go out. You know, I heard the Prime Minister say something. He said that, I don't remember, I listened to the news. He said that based on what happened, the law, murder is down and the poverty rate is down and all of this is down. He said that if it was any other country, that would be a vote of confidence. Mm-hmm. That's what he said, you know.
Yes.
But he left out the part where he's not certified. And if it was somewhere else, a democratic country, he would not be in power right now.
Couldn't be in office.
He couldn't be in office now. So basically, he's just playing a game of catching up. He's trying to catch up and make up back.
It's not catching up in my play. I don't think it's catch up. In playing a game of deception.
Yeah.
Trying to deceive the people. Look at this, but don't look at that.
Mm-hmm. You know, that's what he's doing, and that's why, you know, the people have their eye open, because a country have to have a leader that have integrity, because he's the one that set the standard for the nation.
Yes.
And if he's in turmoil, and if he's when last I heard he mention about enrichment or illicit enrichment or nothing to do with corruption. When last he mentioned about that?
He's not talking about those. Your mother will bring your mind to that, brother. When will bring your mind to that? The Prime Minister is a cunning man, man. Very cunning, He's a cunning old fox.
The only thing he's talking tough about now is really crime, but when it come on to him illicit or people gaining money that they should not have, or corruption. There's nothing like that coming out of his mouth because it's like a person who is guilty, so their conscience won't allow them to speak about it.
And nobody is asking him the questions. And I am a little bit disappointed in the fourth estate in Jamaica that the journalists are I don't know if they are timid or because I know some place that you go, them want to see your question before you ask it, you know. Because yeah, man, you remember that thing in Fort Lauderdale that he was? They scanned Jeffrey Tavares' question, you know. They wanted to know what he was going to ask and basically suggest to him which one to ask.
Yes. That can't happen, man. And that is these journalists right now. It's a shame and disgrace. Shame and disgrace, man. It's these places are not named. When you look at how they ask questions, not even baby would ask these questions that they are asking. They're not asking no proper question. It is unbelievable.
Yes. Yeah. Unbelievable, brother.
Keep up the good work.
Blessings and thanks. Dennis Chung to Ed FID. This is the biggest garbage we have heard in Jamaica. Now, would you be comfortable going in front of a judge, hold on, caller, that has made pronouncement on your case before the case is tried? Talk to me, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, so good morning. Colin from California.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, so that statement, while I would like to agree with Daniel Archer that it's up to the people to use that information and hold that it's up to the people to use that information and hold the Prime Minister accountable, I think there must be legislation to put into place proper mechanism to hold the Prime Minister himself accountable, because in our system, we have a system where we have a de facto Prime Minister, right? Where he's just the leader of the party who get the most seats.
Yes.
Right? So, say for example, 63. So, say for example, 33 JLP MPs are doing a great job. In order to hold the people accountable, we're asking the people to vote against themselves in their own constituency.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
You
serious.
get what I'm saying? So
yes.
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 So we need a better system where even if we can vote for our Prime Minister separate.
Because in Jamaica, we don't vote for the Prime Minister.
No, we don't vote for the Prime Minister.
No.
So we may be asking the people to vote against themselves in order to hold the Prime Minister accountable.
True. Or to suffer a man who has been doing a good job to hold the Prime Minister accountable. You're right. You're perfectly right. But it is what we have. It is what we have. And the GLP must understand, because the GLP must understand now that if they don't move this man as the head of the party, those who are innocent will pay.
Yes, because this is going to be a referendum on the Prime Minister.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Very true, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. That's
804-7072. Good morning.
Morning, Colin. How are you doing?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm in a bad state.
What happened?
I can't believe that Mr. Chung is selected for that position.
Hold the line for me. Don't hang up. Hold on. Portland Spice TV, good morning.
Morning, Colin. Morning.
Hold on, Marsh. Go ahead, caller.
When you listen to the interview on Nationwide, Mr. Chung look like him have an answer for every sore.
Mr. Chung was interviewed on Nationwide about the position.
Yeah, man.
You heard that
interview? Chung was interviewed by Nationwide about the situation with the Prime Minister.
Oh, you mean before now? Yes.
Yeah, before now.
Yes.
And if you listen to the answer to the questions, you realize that he have an answer for every sore.
He sounded like the Prime Minister's lawyer to me. And for those who did not hear the interview, I played some of it this morning. I can play it again for now.
All right. I want to show you what I am looking at. Normally, a gangster have more than one lawyer and more than one accountant, you know.
Yes.
I am of the opinion that Craveney appoint this man because the man is impersonal accountant, you know.
Craveney, who you call Craveney?
Who is the most greedy Jamaican politician?
What you call him? Craveney.
Craveney.
Hold on. You win. You win hands down.
So
no, sir. Me can't use it. Me like it.
Yeah, man, you can use it, man. No problem.
Craveney. Where you say the man sound like Craveney accountant?
The man sound like Craveney accountant because if you listen to the interview, him have an answer for every question.
Yes.
Him know exactly how to go around what you present to him. Because remember, you know, a chartered accountant know how to hide money, you know.
Yes, man. Give him the books and him would deal with what him to deal with.
Right. Him know how to hide the money.
Yes.
So the impression I get, if you listen to the interview, this is a man who sounds like he prepared the documents that he present.
Talk to me.
He sounds like he was the author for the documents. That's how the man look.
Hold on, the people like up the video for me. Over 900 devices on the thing right now. I may only have 265 likes. Like up the video for me, please. Yes, sir. Continue.
Because remember, you know, if you are called by the courts to go in a case, and you are now a jury, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the judge is going to say to you, Mr. Bell, I am going to ask you not to talk about the case.
Yes.
Do not read the newspaper or the news about the case.
Talk to me.
So how can you know, after you blabber off your mouth, the way how this man blabber off his mouth, you appoint the man now to investigate
you
and the same case that he talk about?
No, man. Anybody who didn't see that this Prime Minister is corrupt and devious, see it now. I asked Peter Bunting earlier if the Service Commission could put a commissioner of police in place that the Prime Minister don't approve of. And he said that is most unlikely. No happen, brother. And it's the same thing for the head of the FID. If the Prime Minister did not approve of Dennis Chung, he couldn't get the job. May I tell you that?
We know that.
And if Dennis Chung did say in a those interview that the Prime Minister have questions to answer, him couldn't get the job.
He could, all right.
Little more.
All right, cool.
Marshy.
Yeah, man.
The technologist had it again, boy.
Yo, God Almighty, man. Them I got dead in it. Before Dennis Strong take up that position, you see?
You like the name of the man get the big man?
You know, there's something slip me. Say it again.
Craveney.
Blood.
The man said the man named Craveney. Me say, when the man first said, me say, wait.
That, you know?
Me say, what cigarette have to do with this discussion? But then me understand Craveney.
Yes. And him in a position now when can't get 4 years.
Tell her.
No, sir.
Hey.
But tell me something before Dennis Strong got take up that position there. The reggae girl didn't get their money yet.
You know, me no know. Me no know, you know.
Because that's true. They don't get their money, make a reggae girl side mash up, you know.
Yeah, that was the plan.
And then I try to put back something together now, you know.
But one of the things that Peter Bunting brought up this morning, that Dennis Strong had to resign from, I think, was the procurement committee at the JUTC.
Yes.
A whole heap of people never remember that.
Yeah. And some other places too what were coming and them moving, such as Supreme Venture.
Talk to me now.
Man say, you know, man, I trust you too much, you know.
Talk
Step
to me
away
now.
from here, so you know.
No, but me not think the government can get no lower than this. Me think this is a very low blow.
It's extremely low. But let me ask you a question. Did the Blue Dot poll say anything about corruption?
I don't listen. I never listen. So well, you have to tell me if they say nothing about corruption.
So far, me not hear because me yes a poverty down, me yes a crime down, and thank God. Not crime so much. Me yes a murder down. And me thank God for that. And I think we all want to know that it's down if it down for true.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But no that like here it's a corruption down.
Corruption is costing the country over $100 billion, over $100 billion annually. And we see it with the drill. And we're still waiting on the documentation for the drill. Hello. What happened to the custom declaration form for the drill? The drill.
If I'm me like Donovan Williams and him lawyer, I withdraw that lawsuit, you know, because it's only going to expose them more, you know.
But it must be exposed.
Yes.
It must be exposed.
The worst is yet to come. Because where Alfred Dawes put out last night again, mighty God, me then was the thing gone. I saw the thing gone bad, man.
Where him say last night? I never heard.
In a plain word, the man them buy the drill and then in my word, they scrap the drill, and then sell the part them piece.
Tell it.
Put it on next to you. People can't say damn thief.
But listen, we must get the custom declaration form for that drill, though.
We need to.
That is one of the things that needs to come to the fore. The custom declaration form for that drill needs to come forward.
Yeah. You Dennis Strong. If Dennis Strong have anything about him, you know, him decline this offer, you know, because of one thing he got to, you know, it's just to officially say the Prime Minister is not guilty because him say it already, you know.
Well, they said that he's going there to sanitize the Prime Minister.
That's all them are gonna go do, you know. And the Prime Minister, and then they come in and tell me this little hanky-panky about job was advertised. So you're the man then peace, you know, man. Let me say good, then peace. Some of the requirements in the job. Through Dennis Brown, Dennis Brown, beg your pardon, I agree with Dennis Brown. Dennis Strong not fulfill the requirements of that. Then change the law. Start again and change the rule in the requirement to put the man there because the man not possess some of the thing what needed.
No, but I don't know if you heard the interview with Peter Bunting this morning. I asked Peter Bunting, let's put an hypothetical in place. Dennis Strong meets all the qualification, right? The fact that he made those pronouncements about the Integrity Commission report on the Prime Minister still disqualifies him.
Yes.
It is the pronouncements.
The pronouncement
that he made about the Integrity Commission report that has been submitted to the FID for further investigation. The Prime Minister bare face your the man.
Yeah, let me tell you something here, sir. Let me tell you, make you get out of caller. But if the Minister of Finance, any member of Parliament, even the yappy, we walk around and yap all over the place. We never know, he never know in Amarant Bay. He never knows the urban center. He never knows the Western Center. Last night, name I take you said then Eastern Center. Lie. Damn lie. Marlon, the urban center is in Western. It's not in Eastern. It's not over Mr. Man Park.
Western, right? It's for true, yeah. Western
over
St.
which
Thomas.
part the urban center, then people are going to vote for Hubert Williams.
Yes.
And if you want confirmation, call him. Now, me live a Mark Bay. Me know about. Me used to work a good year. Me know which part is something there.
All right, Marshall, little more.
Yes. Yes. But just before I go, anybody who come out and support this leader from the Prime Minister and Dennis Strong, anybody who supports it, anybody, I don't care who they are a set of damn teeth.
All right,
anybody
later.
Who support it.
Later. Good morning. Welcome to the Colin Bell Show.
And my boss.
Wagwan Rasta.
And
what we are going to do about this?
Well, I have to do something, you know.
Dennis Chung going to the FID to sanitize the Prime Minister. What can go so?
What can go so? Or can your friend investigate you?
It's like you're sending Peter Bunting to investigate Mark Golding.
Conflict of interest.
No, but watch these people. When the man name up a integrity commission where the man say can't get the job because dating guy in wedding.
Oh, the man there. Okay, that man there.
Yeah. Because man dating guy school, he not supposed to get the job. But Dennis Chung, who say him not see nothing wrong with the 28 bank account, him not see nothing wrong with the nil tax return, is going to now investigate the Prime Minister for those same thing. What a rubbish. Come on.
I did not see nothing wrong. The friend who I investigate him, friend.
This make more and puke.
I tell you, man. Craven Anjo, man. Craven Anjo.
Me God. Craven.
Craven Anjo.
Craven.
Like
up in live, people. Like up in live. Subscribe to the channel and share it up. Me never hear them have something in Jamaica yet.
Craven Andrews are disgrace.
3 years ago, I said this is the most corrupt administration that Jamaica has ever seen.
Ever.
And that was a joke to know.
Ever.
Corruption has now become the norm in this country. The country needs to be sanitized, flush out, disinfect.
That disgrace.
God Almighty.
So you know about the little demonstration they are planned for Monday. Yeah, sir.
Demonstration are planned for Monday?
Yeah.
Me no know, me no hear it yet.
Yeah, man. There's a thing I go on for Monday.
Well, we will know as we come off.
Yeah, man. And if we get some information and we organize, we have to stand up, you know, we have to rise up for this.
Yeah, man. Arise from your slumber and answer the call. Little more.
Yeah, man.
804-7072.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Talk to me.
Mr. Bell, you ever see any good baller, any good footballer will move from team to team?
Yes.
No, man. Any good baller team must cement himself in a starting 11 or any side in go, man. Any baller will then put them on loan and all them things. They can't be a good baller.
Oh, the one who put on loan?
Yeah. You in a one team, but you can't cement in your way. So every minute you then sell you, or you go on loan or something. Like Dennis Strong, you know, how long Dennis Strong ever stay in a one organization?
Boy, is a man, he come like he can go everywhere, you know.
You know that man, yeah, man, everywhere.
He's well traveled.
You know, so Dennis Strong collect him pay for his job when I do already do.
Me don't know that. Me don't know that.
May I tell you?
Me don't know that. But
because this cannot be a job where he must go work on. He must make some agreement to clear this man. To get this award. Remember, you know, you go back and change up all the criteria, you know.
But hold on. Dennis cleared the man already. So him just going there for the formality.
But that means they've been cleared already. That means he collect already too.
Me don't know about the collect. But by his, listen, it is what come out of your mouth that defiles you know. And yeah, Dennis' argument defile him body already. I mean, can't believe the Prime Minister so daft. Or is it that they have now taken Jamaica for a set of jackass? 3 million jackass.
And then only players, so the laws are where they say are law.
No,
when
man.
I was saying him never hear the man speak. So if you never hear him speak and somebody bring it to you, and you know, pause for a minute and say, we're going to look through and hear if it is damaging or nothing. You don't move on.
Hey, this administration has taken some good people and turned them in a clown, you know.
Look on our favor. Favor, I will tell you how the man qualified. Me alone next one, I can tell you say, how he more qualified Omar Davis and Minister of Finance. Am I right?
Look here. Me hear a man ask a radio host. So PNP never put him at NSWMA. Yeah, of course. PNP put him to go look after garbage.
Garbage.
A garbage PNP did put him to go look after. Oh no, you want him to go investigate money crime. Hello.
I know. Before he left solid base, you know, a $4 billion irregularity, $4 billion, you know, same thing at JUTC, you know.
But remember, he had to resign from the JUTC.
When confess to some illegal activity, you know.
Little more, caller. Little more.
Yeah,
take some more, caller. 804-7072. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Sir Colin.
Where is brother?
Now we see why the Prime Minister can't even come out and tell the scammer them so they can't scam.
Why him to do that?
Because what is now, when me hear the goodly senator talk. No, when the other day me hear the goodly senator talk from one monologue by himself. I talk about the guy with Dayton Campbell. No. Remember, say, at that wedding, there was a DPP and other personnel at that wedding. Even if me and your friend, it doesn't mean to say me a partake in whatever hanky-panky you are dealing with. And that guy, I've never come out and I've never heard Dayton Campbell said this man and him a big friend from previous comments or whatever it is called. Nobody would have known if this man was just a man under the radar and a working at it. Because he has been working there for the longest while.
Right,
but now that he's the head of something, it becomes an issue.
Let me tell you something.
Why didn't it become that issue before then?
Let me tell you something. What disqualified Dennis Chung from this job is the pronouncements that Dennis Chung has made. And therefore, Dennis Chung, by his own thinking and integrity, because Dennis Chung was here at the NIA, you know, at one point.
Yeah.
You know, Dennis must not go to work Monday morning. Dennis, you know better. Do better.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something. You know, I know that the Jamaica Labour Party tell the people them for fool. When them continue to talk about the process was followed, the process.
You know the same thing I'm like tell you with the drill?
Look here, it is so idiocy because it's the same thing with the drill. A process can always follow. A process can always follow and someone is not qualified. You can always follow. You can always make a process. Let me tell you something. What is the heart of this now? The heart of this is corruption. When you have someone it's like my friend are going to investigate me. The pronouncement that Dennis Chung, you say, when you go in a court of law, them say until proven innocent.
Yeah.
Dennis Chung have already made up his mind that this man is innocent.
Until proven guilty in a court of law.
Okay, then, yeah, in some state, you have a proven guilty. Until proven guilty. But Dennis Chung has already made up his mind that the Prime Minister is innocent.
Yes.
Innocent.
And therefore, if Dennis Chung goes to the FID and really when them look upon it, them not find nothing upon the Prime Minister, the people of Jamaica will not believe you, Dennis.
Let me tell you something about the people of Jamaica. Let me tell you something. And this is a problem that I have with the church, especially. I have a problem with the church and these persons that call themselves pastors because they are mixed up in so many things that you don't believe it. Jamaica has lost its soul. And one of the reasons why Jamaica has lost its soul because we don't have the persons. It's time we stop talking about this. And I said this to someone before. One of the reasons why I want the PNP to have superior majority in the parliament. Do you know the reason why? It's because I want them to be able to prosecute some of these persons who's doing this kind of thing, illicit enrichment. I want Mark Golden to come in and prosecute these persons. Just like how the JP can come out and pass law behind your back when you sleep at night.
Yeah.
I want the PNP come out and pass laws that some of these people can go to prison.
Well, I don't think we need to pass any new law to send some of them to prison, you know. It just needs a forensic audit to get the evidence. And then you send some of them to prison.
And then what happened? But if a man in the ghetto, a man from down across road, in thief a mango, take a mango off a tree, you send him go to jail?
Yeah, man. You never hear Darrell. Hold on, you never hear when Darrell Vaz did say, so when me understand from this, if you're a thief, you must thief big. You never hear the argument there?
Look here, the problem I have with my Jamaican people is this, right? It's like it's a norm. It's just the norm. We don't see no advocacy. Okay, the private sector, it's time we stop talking about the private sector. Let me tell you something about government and governance, right? And it might look like a communist type of rule, but let me tell you something. It's the private sector, it's time we start move away from private sector. Yes, we're going to need a business and all of these things, but the government supposed to start putting stringent measures that means to say the country can grow and do not dependent on the private sector. So when the economy is growing, they put in laws that if the private sector don't want to follow through, you disband them or get rid of them, because at the end of the day, there's going to be a person who come into the space and take their space. Because if the economy was growing at 5%, 6%, 4%, we wouldn't even need to talk about private sector a certain way, no. Because we are growing what we eat, like the farmers and other economic sectors. So the private sector wouldn't, it's like them are always hostage. Look on the banking thing. The banking is all in the government as hostage right now. Because we give them too much power. Because the economy is not growing. If the economy was growing in such a way, do you think some of these persons would have the kind of leverage that they have now?
Not at all.
Exactly. So that is the first thing the PNP got to come in and change. Boy, I'm not going to tell you now. I'm sorry for Mr. Colin. Because when they get this economy, I don't think we have $1 a night. They were going to start back from scratch like 2011 now. You know that?
You have a point, because the economy is way down.
Mr. Azan, tell you,
way down.
Okay, me is someone who send money every month. I am someone who send money like every month. I send X amount of money every month. Right? Mm-hmm. And when you look and say remittance is down, tourism is down, and you have this person, Senator, talk about the economy, good fiscal policy. Look here.
Lie.
Sir Colin, people are calling me and beg me $30.
Of course.
At Jamaica.
The UN says 51% of Jamaica is suffering food insecurity, brother.
Look here. I have to tell
Minister,
someone that.
hold on. The Prime Minister on the 28th of March 2025 said that poverty
12.4
in 2023 was at 12.3%, and in 2024 was at 12.1%. Tell any labor right through.
And in March of this year, what did he say in the budget in March of this year?
Huh?
In March of this year, what did he say the poverty was?
That for 2023, it was 12.3%.
So it is 8.4 now, or 8 point whatever.
No, that me I tell us a lie, them I tell pure lie. Rubbish.
Look, I listen to Ralston every day. I'm not an apologist for Ralston. But you can bring the facts to me to tell me say I'm wrong.
But this not come from Ralston. No. It was the Prime Minister. If you go back on PBCJ, right?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And you watch the Prime Minister's budget presentation on the 28th of March. He put up the chart. And on the chart, it also said that the information come from the PIOJ. And let me find it.
Okay, boy.
We talk again. We talk again here, sir. We talk again.
Yeah.
Hello.
Director of Investigations, Kevon Stevenson, says the millions of dollars transferred between three companies linked to Mr. Holness raises several concerns. He has called on Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, to probe the company's accounts for potential.
Morning.
Hey, Colin, Chris.
Wagwan. Chris, where you at, brother? Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Colin.
Yeah, man.
You weren't expecting Andrew to make this move.
No.
Well, I don't know, Colin. Listen, I was waiting on him to make this move because Colin is the same reason why I put him wife as a speaker of the house is to block and sit on reports and make sure certain things don't come to light. I'm not going to put an objective person in that position who go and look clearly at what is going on and come down with an opinion. He wants somebody who make up their mind already. So then he's strong. Who is a man that live off of the public purse for decades and who is indebted to them is the perfect person to put there. Why would you put somebody who's objective? And you don't want objective people in those positions.
But Chris, this too blatant. This too blatant. I couldn't believe the Prime Minister so dry eye. Puss broke coconut not the Prime Minister eye, man. Hello?
Yes, but look what has he been doing over the years. He has done pure blatant things. Andrew have always moved the goalposts. And when we don't do anything, he move it a little further and a little further. So now him reach a point where him say, it's going to be a 9-day wonder.
Hold on. Mr. Nardi put something in the chat room. Breaking news, Colin. Chung under police protection. For what? Nobody now do Dennis nothing. Hello?
Yeah, that's all distraction. That's all distraction.
Continue,
Nobody
Chris.
not going to do Dennis Chung nothing.
Sure.
This guy was this. I knew that whoever he put in that position was going to be somebody who was going to put there to block for it. I knew that because I know you say even you as jaded as you are and you've been around for a long time in politics, even you shocked, but I wasn't shocked because Andrew have a pathology. He's a pathological personality. Him operating a certain way. You understand? And just like when him come and him put out him 200% raise, him calculate that it going to be a little uproar for a little bit and then it will die down on people. Because Andrew him can't turn it on, you know. Him think him have the Jamaican people down pat.
Well,
him think him know them.
Well, he might try turn it on from the local government election and it now come on. It now come on.
That might be true, but don't underestimate him.
Why the man
you understand?
All right, Chris.
This must not, let me say this before I go. This must not stand.
Cannot.
This must not and it cannot stand. This is literally crossing the Rubicon. This is a new law even for him. He cannot do this.
Well, the PNP have to come out on this. We have to come
he
out.
must withdraw. This must be withdrawn. Must be withdrawn.
Brother. Respect.
All right, Colin.
Yeah, man. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Portland Spice TV. Turn off the instrument in the background, please.
Yes, I've turned it off.
Go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Bell.
Good afternoon.
And your listeners. So my call today is I want to talk about the thing that the US put out about going down. It said that the actual crime rate is going down. Yes, yes. Mr. Bell, at what cost that is? Is that so that Andrew can take in the deportees?
No.
Because that is.
But we can't turn back the deportees. If they are Jamaicans and they deport them, we have to take them.
Yeah, yes, but you can negotiate a certain amount of time that they come in and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can negotiate certain things, but there has to be a price for them. America don't give it. There is something that has been given for the crime rate to go down, that to go down, because it's in the UK and it still remains at level 3.
Well, you see, the reason why we have a travel advisory is crime and our health sector. They are saying that murders are going down, but the health sector is still in disarray. And that's one of the disappointing things that the Americans are saying to their people, that when you go to Jamaica, if you have health issues, don't expect no good health treatment down there.
But Mr. Bell, me and you know say crime now go down. Well, me and you know that.
Well, I tell you something. I want to believe that it is going down, but not at where they say. Because with that 490 bodies that the autopsies have not been done. And I think it could have passed 490 by now, because that was in February, March, April, May, finished today. I think that it is not at the low that they are saying. This government is suppressing the figures And just like how they come out and tell we lie about the poverty rate, that's a blatant lie. And I'm ready for somebody to come and explain to me how did the Prime Minister get it so wrong in March?
Mr. Bell, Mr. Bell,
yes, Carla.
Mr. Bell, listen, you realize how under this government, and I don't hear anybody calling out the amount of our children that are going missing, that are going lost, that have been unalive. Our women, there was a time when men respected women and children. Under the Andrew administration, that is not the case. This man, all he does, you never hear, I don't hear this man come out, with all of the things that is happening with our children and our women. And I don't hear him come out. Only one time he put out something about the reward.
You know, see labor rights hug up the man who beat the woman with the stool. Mercilessly beat the woman with the stool. Ryan, which part the health sector in Jamaica improved? Tell me about the hospitals them where I improve, Ryan. Rubbish.
Mr. Bell, listen, this man, our police officers, he has set the police officers against the citizens and the citizens against the police. This is the only prime minister that people has absolutely no respect at all. The amount of times I listen, sometimes I have to walk away when move the screen when we hear them style up the prime minister. And I'm like, this man don't even realize how angry he's getting. We realize that, you realize that Jamaica seriously suffer from a serious breakdown.
Yeah, man. The values and attitudes gone.
Jesus,
values and attitudes gone to the dogs.
Gone, sir. We have no respect for each other anymore. And when we hear people talk about, I was listening to a thing and I hear a man say, him will come to Jamaica, come pick up gun.
And I don't hear the Prime Minister disassociate himself from that yet.
If them move the Prime Minister out of, where is our country? Where is our democracy? Where is it that people can't now make a choice? It's only one party can swing. We don't want no criminal at Jamaica, and Andrew has become a criminal enterprise. We do not want it there. And that's why we want him out. So whether the labor rights, they like it or not, the Prime Minister is a criminal. And we are seeing it every single day of the week, that he's a criminal and all the people that are with him are criminals. And we are saying, as Jamaicans, we are tired of the criminality. We're tired of the lie. And we're tired that you are barefaced with your behavior. You don't have no respect for the people. You have no respect for God. And you have no respect for our country. Our country, Mr. Prime Minister, is a Christian country. Our values and our
So what happened to the Christian them? So what happened to the Christian them? Why we not hear them coming out?
Yeah, but you see, Mr. Bell, I will ask the same question. But I say this to say that any Christian who supports the Prime Minister is going to hell just like him, because the Bible said there is but one God, and the only God is God himself. And when the Prime Minister choose to try and be a God, he is nothing but a soul rejected by God. And this is why the labor rights need to realize and jump off of the ship before it crashed. Because Saul is a reject.
All right, caller.
Right?
Bless you.
Have a blessed day, sir.
Thanks for the call. 804-7072. It appears that the 233 gun fine is to overshadow the $31 million drill issue. The drill issue will not go away. I guarantee you. Until we see the custom declaration form, the drill issue will not go away. Sam.
Good morning, Mr. Comrade.
Wagwan.
I never, this man, this prime is as criminal like the devil.
You know what, hold on. You know what, I want to come here and call the Prime Minister criminal. The Prime Minister has not been
look at
found.
the tracking.
Hold on. The Prime Minister have not been found guilty for any criminal act. So, I'm going to ask you not to use this platform to style the Prime Minister as no criminal. All right?
All right.
Thank you.
So look at the tracking. First, him say, nobody be investigated by Inter Commission while he was on investigation.
What we know is that the Prime Minister is a liar. We know that. And we can prove that.
Yes. What is the meaning of a liar, man?
No, I said nobody no call him a criminal. We're not accepting that. Go ahead.
All right, sir. Secondly, Integrity Commission to court. Thirdly, change the request for FID to give a man the opportunity to take the office.
You can't say the Prime Minister change it.
Hello?
The Services Commission have to come deal with that. You can't say the Prime Minister change it either.
Mr. Bell.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bell. And all of us live in moon now, man. Some of us live on earth now, man. Right?
Yes,
because, listen, the people them that interview Mr. Dennis Chow, they are not the person who changed the criteria now.
Well, you said they were ordered to change it.
No, they were not the person who changed it.
Is who changed it?
The government put out an advertisement for the post. It's not the body that interviewed them. And secondly, thirdly, we like to know how many people who apply for the job.
You heard the interview with Senator Golding this morning?
No.
We spoke to Senator Golding early this morning, about 5 minutes after 9. We started that interview. And he said that other people applied who were qualified for the job.
What you say?
Senator Peter Bunting told us this morning that he's aware that other people were interviewed who were qualified for the job.
Okay. So you say tracking.
Yeah.
Look at the tracking. I want all will think in Jamaica with a labor people independent. Just look at the tracking. Just look at the tracking and see what's taking place. Because it's not hard for you to see. These people put people in position to wipe out their criminal act.
All right, caller. Give thanks.
Yeah, man.
Bless up. 876-804-7072. What is going to happen next week if Dennis Chung takes up his job as the technical director of the FID? It must not happen. Jamaica, it must not happen. We cannot allow the Prime Minister to put a man in that office to investigate him who have already pronounced on the report of the Integrity Commission. We know what will happen when Dennis Chung takes his position at the FID. And we know it because of the statements that Dennis Chung have already made. If you have never heard any of them, listen to this.
Parliament on Tuesday, Director of Investigations, Kevon Stevenson, says the millions of dollars transferred between three companies linked to Mr. Holness raises several concerns. He has called on Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, to probe the company's accounts for potential irregularities. According to the report, Mr. Holness is connected with or had financial interests in 3 companies: Imperium, Positive Media, and Estate Bridge. Imperium is wholly owned by Mr. Holness and is a holding vehicle for his assets. A forensic examination of accounts attributed to Mr. Holness and the referenced companies for January 1, 2020 to June 13, 2023 revealed intercompany deposits and withdrawals in excess of $470 million and $427 million respectively. According to Mr. Stevenson, the transfers are not supported by the apparent capital generated. But Mr. Chung questions the veracity of this claim.
And I'm trying to figure out what the relevance of that finding is, because transactions can move between accounts based on, liquidating one asset, getting a loan, setting it up somewhere else, and set it up somewhere else for use. So, for example, Positive Jamaica, I understand, is a foundation, and you might want to move money from a foundation to another account, which is an investment account, to do transactions. Particularly when I look at Table 6, which is the assets, liabilities, and income held by Mr. Holness, you don't really see any significant positive movement in it. You see that there's movement between US dollar assets and Jamaican dollar assets, but the total of it, it doesn't seem as if there's any significant increase in assets.
The chartered accountant...
Hold on. No, that is the man. That is the voice of Dennis Chung, who is going to head the FID to investigate the Prime Minister. Go ahead, Sonia. Sonia?
Hello?
Yes, morning. Go ahead.
Yeah. Morning.
Welcome to the show.
Colin. Thank you. This gun thing, you see?
Yeah.
I am really concerned about it. Because out of the clear blue sky, the press releases this information about the gun find. Now, my question is this. What triggered the Jamaica Constabulary Force to go to that warehouse, to go and search for the guns that they found?
Information.
Did they get information from somebody?
Yes, they got information, I would imagine.
You would imagine. Did they tell us that? No.
I'm not mixing up the two.
We are just assuming that they got information.
Right.
We don't know.
And they do,
the next question
they do scans.
I have.
Hold on. They do scans at the wharf too, So maybe it could be the scans that pick it up. Because they scan barrels, they scan motor vehicles.
If the scans picked it up, Colin, why was that shipment allowed to move out of the customs and go to the warehouse?
I couldn't answer
Why
that
was
question.
it not held and allowed people to come in to whom it was shipped to?
And hold them.
To come in, and when they come in now, the police is there to investigate them, take them into for questioning, etc., etc. Because when they just go to this warehouse and find all these things, right? And then you don't hear anything about it afterwards. It leaves a lot of doubt in my mind because a lot of things like that happen in Jamaica over the years.
And we don't hold nobody. It's not the first.
Nobody is held accountable. And my question is the Jamaica Constabulary Force responsibility only to go and find things and put it in the newspaper? Or are they supposed to carry it to a logical end where somebody is charged? Right?
Well, guess what, Carla? Guess what,
Either in prison or whatever the case might be.
But guess what? Somebody would have shipped that. What they say is a dryer or a washing machine. Somebody would have shipped it. What happened to the person who shipped it? And it must have an address where it'll go. What happened to that?
It must have a from and a to. Because when I go to send anything to anywhere, might it have to have a from and a to on it?
Yes, man. So
right? So I want to know, why is it that all these information is there and nobody is being questioned? All you hear is a something written in the newspaper, and then the Prime Minister coming out and talking about all they do in order to that the JCF can find these things.
Well,
and them finding these things, but them not finding the person responsible for doing it.
Hold on, Sonia, because I'm reading the comments in the chat room. I have not watched television news in a little while. Are you all saying that there are no pictures? I saw pictures in the Gleaner. I think I saw pictures in the Gleaner and pictures on social media. Are you saying that TVG and our CVM did not get any pictures of these guns? Is that what you are all saying?
To be honest, I don't remember if I read it in the, I think it's the Gleaner I saw it in, right? And I don't remember if I saw any picture. I think I just read about the whole heap, but there could be a picture and I sorted because I'm reading it online. So I just scroll down because I want information. So I'm not saying that no picture was there, but even if pictures were there, Colin, right? What does that prove? Every time these illegal shipmen come into Jamaica, the police come out and they talk about it. They put it in the media that they find this. So if something is shipped to me, and I read in the Gleaner said that the police them find this and so and so, you think I'm going to go in go collect it?
Not at all.
Me not go run go hide.
Not at all. I see the pics, but what about the video from TVJ or CVM? Are you saying that no video from TVJ or CVM? Strange.
Well, I don't know. I'll go and search to see if I can find that. But as I said, I just read it in the print media.
All right.
I did not, I don't really get
I read it.
Those
I've
things.
been reading
I just read the print.
I've been reading it online. I haven't seen any TV news in a little while. But let me thank you for the call.
Okay, take care.
It is the final day of May, my viewers and my subscribers. I want to thank everybody this morning. Thank Peter Bunting for coming on. Thank Daniel Archer for giving us a lecture this morning on the Integrity Commission, their roles, their functions, and what weight do they have when they make their pronouncement. This has been the Colin Bell Show for yet another Saturday. As we complete the month of May, we ask you to be a Portland Spice ambassador. Send the link to all the contacts in your phone. Ask them to subscribe, like, and share the channel. Click the notification bell. That's whenever we are on, you're on. May the good Lord continue to bless and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his light and give you his peace, now and forevermore. If you have not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell, because whatever is going to be happening as it relates to the FID and this, what you call appointment, will be right here on Portland Spice TV. Stick and stay with us. That's been a pleasure. As we join you again Tuesday evening, right here on Portland Spice TV. One love, my people. Thanks for watching.